Subscribe button. Press the bell icon for no.
Thank you, Ramu, very much. John, can I request you to open the book? Something you wanted to say? A god, a small god from Kerala who's quite neglected and sees this motorcycle and falls in love with motorbikes, and then he takes on this road trip looking for this classic British bike. But tell us a little about your memories of Kerala.
Kerala, I've spent 1 or 2 months a year of my entire life practically, barring the last 15 or 17 years, going back home to a place called Aluvai in Kerala, where my father was born. And we don't have too many people there, but I still keep going back there once in a way. It's a beautiful place. I love the Kerala breakfast. I love puttus, I love appams, and I enjoy that space. So going back there is always going back to one part of my home. So the other part of my home, of course, is Bombay, like we called it, because mom's from here. So the two sides of me, but definitely going back is a lot of fun.
I don't know your political leanings and I don't want to go there right now. But why do you think Kerala has not been Modified? What makes Keralites different from the rest of us?
But that's a beauty about Kerala, and I think it's fantastic, and Murali can vouch for this. You can see a temple, a mosque and a church within like 10 meters of each other, peacefully coexisting without any problem whatsoever. Am I right, Murali? There's absolutely no issue there. So, seeing what's happening to the world today, and the entire world is getting very polarized. I think Kerala is an example of a place where religion and communities can coexist so peacefully. The other extreme is, I still remember when Fidel Castro passed away, I went to Kerala, and that was the only state where they had his posters and his hoardings all over to mourn his death. So Kerala is really communist and I see that in my father also. Yeah, my father was he was, I wouldn't say, he made me read a lot of Marxist philosophy, and so I just went through a lot of stuff. But there is a communist side of in a lot of Mallus, like we call ourselves Mallus. So I think that's fantastic, because we all believe in equitable living. We believe in equitable distribution of wealth, and I think Kerala is a shining example of that.
It's a beautiful answer. Tell us about the famous RD 350. When we were growing up, it was like the cool guys, cool bike. And I remember how much you sweated to get it. They don't make it anymore. Do you still own one?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't own an RD 350. I got mine from a Parsi for 17,500 rupees. And I sold my bike in those days for 21,000. So you can imagine how well I maintained it. And when I sold it, I still remember, without exaggeration, Murali, and Horma Sorabji is a good friend of mine, so I can say this. I actually broke down crying when I sold the bike, because I felt a part of my life has gone. So and even in your book, when you speak about the Velosit Venom Thruxton HT, you won't believe this, but that's one of the bikes I wanted. Yeah, so that's in his book. It's a beautiful baby, and there was a 68 model, a pearl white one. I'd actually seen it when I was shooting in Birmingham at that point of time, where the factory is based out of, and the BSA factory is also based out of there. And I went there, and I saw this bike, and in those days they told me the bikes, this was quite some time ago, but I think about 10 years ago when I wanted it. In those days they said it was $24,000 for a 68 model. So getting it back to India would have been another 24. Between Ireland and the UK, a very little island. And the entire perimeter of that island is about 36 miles. That's it. And once a year, for a week, they have these races in the Isle of Man, in the first week of June, the last week of May, where these riders come, and they're professional riders, and they ride on streets that are probably as wide as Turner Road, and they do speeds of up to 340 kilometers an hour. It is called the greatest show on earth. It is also called the most dangerous race in the world, because on an average, 1.5 to 2 riders, on an average, so 2 riders die every year in those races. And I've been going to those races because for any motorcyclist, to touch that ground is like you've reached the mecca of motorcycling. So the first thing I did when I went there was I touched the ground and I was like, I'm here. And then I rode, but of course I was a mere mortal. I couldn't ride at those speeds. So these guys were 340, we were at 200, 250, which was not anywhere close to what they were doing. But the experience was just beautiful going around there. So I'm doing a film in the Isle of Man, and in your book you've mentioned everything from a GSX 750. And for all you guys here who don't know much about motorcycles,
Major fans at the back.
Oh, major fans. Hi guys, hi.
I wanted to come here with their bikes.
Hi. Okay, so I got to tell you what I have since you guys are here. I've got the Panigale V4, the beautiful baby. I've got the Aprilia RS V4. I've got the VMAX, Yamaha VMAX 1700. Then what else have I got? I've got the ZX 1400, the Kawasaki Ninja ZX 1400. I'm getting the new R1, and I'm getting the BMW S1000 RR. Besides that, I've got what else have I got? I've got the MV Agusta F3 800. So I've got some.
How did you do it?
So I just had fun writing it. I think it's been 10 years since I've been writing this book.
My God.
And I don't think I was ever bored with it. And I hope even the readers will find something similar in it.
Well, I hope so too. I want to invite Ramu Ramanathan, the famous playwright, to just read an excerpt from the book, please.
Foremost, congrats, Murali. The context is our hero, which is Kandakaran Swami, also known as KK. He is a village deity mad about motorcycles. He has just returned from one of his trips abroad. The time which I am going to sort of refer to is the 1970s. Kandakaran Swami is talking about meeting his friends, Koman and Gopi, in Kolegonde, which is the village in which he is worshipped. And while the two drink, he regales them with stories about his rides abroad. Okay. I immediately traveled with Gopi to Palakkad. We met Koman there, and the two friends finished 2 bottles of Katti Sark whiskey as I enthralled them at the Fort Maidan late into the night, narrating tales of my trysts with all those exotic machines. Over the years, I have visited many countries in search of interesting motorcycles and ridden 1 million mooched miles on all sorts of machines. Each of these adventures helped Koman vicariously live the thrill of riding motorcycles he never had the opportunity to ride. But there is a story that was better than all my stories. It's about the Velocity Venom Thruxton HT, and the man who narrated it to us on a September night was Kadar. The boys were all at the Arak shop celebrating Koman's engagement in Achat's house, Madhavi, which had taken place earlier that day. An exuberant Koman had ordered meat of various kinds, frog's legs, beef, fowl and mutton, to go with the several liters of alcohol that he and his band of merrymakers consumed that night. Much advice was proffered by some of Koman's married friends, especially Murthy, the twice divorced rascal who distilled his bitter wisdom for the soon-to-be groom's benefit. Koman and his friends talked about the football games they had played as children, the various teachers they had harassed, cursed CK and Gopalan for not being around, and wondered why Gopi was still unmarried. Must be because of that girl he desired so much, Koma. What was her last name? The one who used to pass this way daily on the bus to Nemara, asked Chuchai Narayan, a wave of mirth cresting on his grandly mustachioed face.
Ready? Okay. Thank you. The bike rider, the pillion rider, huh?
ये छोटू जाना थोड़ा आगे अंदर जा इसको जाने दे जा
Excuse me. Nagesh, Mukesh from the right.
Excuse me वो चले जाएगा
Bye.